Hi there, Jano. Very excited. Thank you for having us. Appreciate the spotlight. Sure. So, Tentpegging is, a sport that measures a rider's accuracy across a 200-meter track. You have a lance in your hand or you have a sword in your hand, and you have to get different types of objects, whether that's a cardboard peg, a little metal ring, or cut an orange in half. That is sort of the situation that I call Tentpegging. So, as long as you have a weapon in your hand, one hand on the reins, and you're going for the objects very fast. Literally. Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't there, but definitely a sport or some sports or exercise.
Nice.
I think some homework
Some
definitely some sort of
definitely some sort
exercise
of
where
exercise where
we would go
we
one
would
behind
go
each
one
other
behind each
and using
other
the
and using
actual
the
tent
actual tent
pegs that hold a
pegs that
tent
hold a
up.
tent.
So when you
So
ride
when you
past, you pick
ride
it up, the
past, you
tent.
pick it up, the tent would fall. And whether that was to disorientate your opponents or, the country that you're fighting against, it's sort of I'm not too sure. Like I said, I wasn't there, but definitely something in military that was then taken from country to country, and each country sort of made it its own. Whether that was skillet arms, whether that was, I'm not too sure. There's like I think in Europe where they shoot the balloon on the floor, where we were shooting the balloon like over the jump. So it sort of just rolled across the world in its different forms, which brings us to ITPF, which was actually launched or started 10 years ago. So it's a group of countries that have come together, and the headquarters are in Oman, and they've come to formalize the sport so that, when we meet the countries, we're talking the same. So, it was just some countries only used the lance. Some countries never did rings and cut lemons in half. So slowly over the last 10 years, we've been trying to really establish sort of one definition for the sport. And what that has been has a lot to do with RTPF, and that just what they've come into do. So thank you, they formalized it, and now we're all sort of speaking the same language, even though there's a lot of languages in the room. I think so. It was just a situation where Gymkhana turned into like, it was Buddha sport, Gymkhana, Western games. Then the definition for Gymkhana was like this, like sort of picking up sticks, and we definitely weren't that, so tent picking came about with, we definitely have a weapon that we don't let go. It is not, if you look at working equitation, they pick up the bull jousting thing and they get the ring and they put it back down. We don't really put our weapons down. Once you're in the event and you have a lance, you're responsible for that weapon from the beginning to the end, and that is your event. It is not, there isn't in the international rules, there isn't changing of the weapon during the actual run. So I think that's sort of where they're trying to show the definition, like tent pegging, Western mounted games. I'm not too sure where Gymkhana sits anymore, Okay.
what the definition of that is nowadays.
And would you mind talking us through briefly, Bev, what goes into a tent pegging competition? What is the overall structure? If you arrive to go and watch one of these things, what are we expecting to see?
Okay. So, I mean, let's talk like basic rules, objectives. Basically, it's not the preference, like your horse needs to be very well trained, but he's not getting the points for you. So you'll see people come through and they have to pick up object. So the objects are either, like I said, cardboard pig, it can be 60 millimeters, 40 millimeters.
Bev, can you pause for a second? Sorry, I've lost sound. Sorry, Bev, we've just lost you.
You see my hand?
Yes, we can see your hand and
Okay,
we
we're
have
back.
you back.
Yes,
We have you back.
I'm
Sorry.
freaking out. Yeah, sick.
Sorry. So we're talking about
I'm
the
like
basic rules and
forgetting everything.
objectives. Thank you. Thanks for helping us.
Yeah, so yeah. So points, right? So you start the day off 0, and every time you pass object, it is your opportunity to get 6 points. We in South Africa also get additional points for the way we do it. So if you do it right, then you get your 3 points, but there are points in that can be allocated to if you were dangerous, or you did something that is in the rules that you weren't allowed to do.
Sorry. We're experiencing a few technical difficulties at the moment. We're hopefully going to be back up and running in a brief moment if everybody can just bear with us. We are, of course, talking to Beverly Hexroth from Tentpegging, South Africa. Am I gone completely? And we've been discussing that this was formerly known as Gymkhana, a sport involving swords and lances, where the rider has to strike an object at a full gallop. Tentpegging SA on their website, which I would encourage you to visit, satentpegging.co.za, says that the bond and trust between horse and rider here has no boundaries. And the point is to successfully strike an object that has driven into the ground or hanging from an overhead gallows construction, calling for the rider to focus on the object and to strike it without having to distract his concentration by shifting his attention to his horse, who should be exceptionally responsive and well schooled. This, of course, Bev has discussed with us, is a cavalry sport of ancient origin, one of only 10 equestrian disciplines officially recognized by the International Equestrian Federation, referring to the entire class of mounted cavalry games. Bev, can you speak again? Unfortunately, we still don't have sound there on Bev. Sorry, guys. We're going to troubleshoot and hopefully be back in a second. Maybe pause the live.